In this video, I'll show you how to compare English translations of the Shema using your top Bibles or all the Bibles in your library. Deuteronomy 6:4 is arguably the most famous and well-known verse in the Old Testament. But have you ever noticed that English Bibles differ in the way they render the final Hebrew phrase of verse 4, Adonai Echad? Some English texts read the Lord alone, while other translations render this phrase as the Lord is one. One translation focuses on God's exclusivity, while the other focuses on His unity. With Logos, we can quickly compare how some or all of your English Bibles render this phrase. First, when it comes to text comparison, Logos has a specialized tool that enables you to compare translations as well as modern and ancient versions of the Bible. To access this tool, go to the Tools menu and click to open the text comparison tool. When it opens, enlarge the window by dragging it over into a larger panel. With the text comparison tool, you can input the verse you're studying and compare different translations to see where they differ and where they agree. Reading multiple versions like this can be extremely helpful when the text you're studying contains a word that has different meanings in different contexts, like the word echad. For this example, input Deuteronomy 6:4 into the reference box. Then choose the English versions that you want to compare. Or, if you use this tool often enough, you can prioritize the versions that you typically compare, then choose to compare your top Bibles. If you've not worked with library prioritization, then you may have to enter the abbreviations for each version manually. What's nice about comparing my top Bibles is that while Logos only compares my top 4 English Bibles, I can always jump up into the box, add a comma, followed by the abbreviation for any other Bible I want to compare, like the NLT, the NIV, and the NKJV. Looking at the comparison, note that the LEB shows up first as the base text. That's because this English translation is my preferred Bible. As the base text, we can compare this version against all the others and show the differences using the filter options to the right. When I click the button marked with a blue A, Logos shows how the latter 6 translations compare to the LEB. The second button supplies both the variations and the LEB translation, and it's marked through. For now, let's keep the first filter turned on and turn off the second one. Now I'm looking at different variations of this text, and the differences are highlighted in blue. The LEB renders the last phrase of verse 4 as Yahweh is unique. The ESV says the Lord is one. The NRSV renders it the Lord alone, as does the NLT. So, as you can see, there's quite a bit of variation represented in some of the most popular English translations. For performing text comparison as you read, open the ESV Bible to Deuteronomy 6:4. Then, with the resource open, press F7 on the keyboard, or press Function F7 on a Mac. This action will call up a floating text comparison window, showing me how my top 5 Bibles render this text. Again, notice the textual variations are highlighted in blue, and that the filter options we chose in the text comparison tool are enabled in this window. If you want to narrow the focus of your text comparison, go back to the Tools menu, and this time choose to open the Information tool. This tool supplies us with important information tied to each term in our English text. When I select the term one in the ESV, the information refreshes to display data related to this word. Toward the top of the panel, notice the text comparison of this term. Apparently, the Hebrew word echad is translated as one in the ESV, KJV, NASB, NIV, NKJV, and AV. The term is translated in the Septuagint as haste, and again, the NRSV renders it alone, while the LEB says unique. Of course, there's so much more in this panel that we could discuss at a later time. For now, let me show you a final trick. You can see a verse like Deuteronomy 6:4 represented in every Bible you own by opening up a new search and choosing to run a Bible search. Next, adjust your resources to search from the ESV to all Bibles. So now I'm searching all Bible text in all passages in all Bibles. Then, input the search term that you see on my screen, milestone, Bible, Deuteronomy 6:4. With this command, we're running what is called a milestone text search. With milestone searches like this, Logos will search the text of Deuteronomy 6:4 in any Bible or commentary. In this case, we're going to look for this text in all the Bibles we own. Now let's run our search. In our results, we have every translation and every version in our library of Deuteronomy 6:4. Now I can scan through the results and see the variety represented in translations of this text. So if you're looking to compare different versions of a passage, Logos gives you 3 different options with 3 different levels of comparison.